Everybody is on about Cap'n Whammin', and at this point I have no plans to see it in the theater. I'm not going to give my money to that. Now, I already made 2 Captain Marvel videos. One is called The Catch! And the other is called And I made these a couple weeks ago before the movie even came out. And I felt like I pretty much called it then. So I don't have too much extra to add to my thoughts from those 2 videos. Go ahead and take a look at that. But I have participated in a few live streams, which has gone over this particular topic. So if you would like to hear more of my thoughts, as well as those of my friends in the fandom collective, check out my guest appearance on Mary VIDALIS' show. Mary's a little firecracker, but she took a major bullet for the rest of us in going to see that steaming pile of hot garbage in the summertime. She made some pretty good reaction videos, and then she had a pretty good guest spot on a stream by Lethal Lightning. Also, check out my bro SHELLBACK, aka Hallmark Channel Jeremy. We did a 4-hour live stream where we touched on a little bit of everything, but there was a good part there about Carol Danvers and Rogue and Captain Marvel and International Whammin's Day. So go check those things out. I'm actually going to shift the tone of the conversation of this video. One of the things that we touched on in the live streams that I think is worth bringing up is the Disnifications of the properties that they are acquiring. Now by that I mean that Disney has a certain way that it likes to approach its characters and its storytelling. And some of it is formulaic, of course, but some of it is very much agenda driven. So look at what has happened to Marvel and the MCU. The MCU for a long time was like our safe place in Marvel where we could go and kind of like be sheltered from the larger realities of what's going on at Marvel the comic entity. Marvel Comics has more and more come under the influence of SJW identity politics. So we're seeing male heroes being replaced by female heroes. We're seeing overpower Mary Sue characters coming out of nowhere. And we're seeing basically like social justice, feminist propaganda being pushed in our faces at the expense of men, which is just as sexist as it is to say a woman belongs in the kitchen barefoot and pregnant making my dinner. Remember, being a feminist isn't about feminine superiority, it's about equality of opportunity. And the opportunity is there. If you choose not to take it and do something else, that's your business. Now, where I choose to take my money for my entertainment, that's my business. And if you think you can scare me or intimidate me into going and seeing something by calling me names that really don't apply, you don't know just how deep we in the fandom menace can dig in our heels. Now this is really telling. In the live streams, particularly in a Hallmark Channel Jeremy's live stream, we were in real time checking the Rotten Tomatoes scores. DJD was keeping a very good eye on that, and we saw the same thing everybody else saw, that whoever is running Rotten Tomatoes is bleeding at the stumps that used to be their fingers trying to fudge the data. So as far as I'm concerned, that's no longer a reliable source, and I have no faith in what they say ever again. Now this Disnification and the sort of sucking off of the mouse, I can see it further continuing into all the new properties that Disney starts acquiring. So once Fox gets acquired by Disney, we're going to see it in all the Fox things that Disney starts to play with. You know, it's like Tinkerbell goes in there and touches it with its wand, and then it turns into a blue-haired screaming Mimi. And when it comes to Star Wars, we've already seen that. Rogue One, although we got that really awesome Darth Vader content, and really in my mind that's the only thing that it's worth, is very much female driven. And of course Rey from The Last Jedi, ridiculous. That's like the most worthless character. At this point in episode 9, I don't even think that there's anything you can really do with her. You know, unless something from outside the Star Wars First Order threatens the galaxy, and then they have to join together and fight side by side once again. I don't know if that's necessarily going to be J.J. Abrams' approach, but, you know, a boy can wonder. And with the end of episode 9, we're going to see the end of the Skywalker saga. Disney has stated this over and over again. So I'm telling you, Disney, you have an opportunity here to win us back if you just listen to us. Okay? There are two things right off the top of my head, two projects that I think that if you could do them right, you would get a lot of Star Wars fans back in your camp and put their butts back in the theater seats. Now, this all depends on you not trying to tell us how to behave. This depends on your ability as a company to tell a good story. That's all we want. We don't need you to tell us what side of the aisle to vote on. We don't need you to tell us that women are powerful. Star Wars has had powerful women in it since the first time it ever was aired. Mon Mothma, Princess Leia. What we need is a compelling story. So here are two ideas. What have fans been asking for as far as a movie for, like, I don't know, 5 years now? Obi-Wan Kenobi's exile on Tatooine as he watches over young Luke. Now, it's not like you don't have precedent for it. Star Wars Rebels Season 3, Episode 20, Twin Sons, touched on this, where we saw him on Tatooine. He cuts down Darth Maul, and then, just as a precaution, he rides his lizard beast over to the homestead and watches little Luke run across back to Aunt Beru. That was pretty awesome, but that was very Dave Filoni, and you guys don't seem to be listening to him very much. The other source I can point to for fodder material is the Star Wars comic, issue number 7, where it deals exactly with this topic. It's in the form of a journal that Luke is reading in his X-Fighter about some of the stuff that Ben went through as, you know, as under the guise of Ben, but that Obi-Wan went through, and some of the struggles that, you know, he couldn't reveal himself as a Jedi because the Jedi were viewed as criminals at that point. So all the injustice he had to look past just for the sake of watching over Luke. And Luke does get into some trouble, and Obi-Wan does have to go and save his ass, but it's kind of like on Luke's end, it's like a, what happened? Now, either of those with a little twist, starring Ewan McGregor, would be a great movie and a good love letter to your fans. There's a way to do that. And honestly, if you need some ideas, ask us. We're only pissed off because you're trying to force product down our throats. You're not listening to us. You're telling us, this is good for you. Who's a silly little fan? No, we lived and breathed this stuff. Some of us grew up and have like enormous useless knowledge about Star Wars just because we loved it that much. The other direction that you could go would be into the far past. Okay? I believe that a Darth Bane trilogy based on the books by Drew Karpyshyn would make an excellent trilogy. You already have 3 books that have the stories there. There are wonderful characters, including a mega powerful Whammon. Now, we already have a precedent for Darth Bane in the Disney canon. The Clone Wars, Season 6, Episode 13, Sacrifice. Yoda comes upon the spirit of Darth Bane while he is going through another trial. And as voiced by Mark Hamill, Darth Bane is revealed to have been the source of the Sith Order's rule of 2. Now, how that plays out is covered in the Karpyshyn novels, but that would be very, very good Star Wars movies that also have Jedi and Sith, but are not really about the Skywalkers. So yeah, take that pearl, Disney, put it under your pillow, rest on it, think about it, and do the right thing. Your fans are who takes care of you. If you don't understand that, and you continue to offer us shit for product, we're going to treat your product like shit, and we're not going to buy it. We're going to go see something else. Hell, we even have the resources now that we can make our own shit. The choice is yours. Choose your own adventure. My name's Immortal Coil. Like, share, subscribe, ding the bell for notifications. Share the video with your friends if you find it pertinent. And remember, yes, there are 2 paths you can go by, but in the long run, there's still time to change the road you're on. Hope so.